So why the Akash? Why would you want to delve into the Akasha, the Akash, the Akashic records, also known as the quantum field? What good is that? You know, why do people feel drawn to that in the first place? So the reason that people feel drawn to this in the first place is because there's something in their daily lives, in their reality, that they're deeply unsatisfied with. It may be to do with community, friendship, maybe to do with career, with just existential life concerns in general. People come to the Akash when they're ready to deepen their experience with life. Okay, the reason people seek out the deeper information and experiences of the Akash is because they feel disconnected to daily life somehow. And this doesn't mean that daily life is not good enough, or you know, there's something inherently wrong about just inhabiting the physicalness, let's say, of life. It doesn't mean that at all. What it means is that some of us have this desire to go deeper with and beyond what's just present in the physical. We have a desire to know, to understand what our life is about, to understand what we're doing here, to understand maybe how, if we can, this all works. And to do that, we have to go deeper past the surface layer and level of what we conversate with our peers about, with our family, with our friends. We tend to only go to the surface layer, and even when we are touching on deeper topics, because no one is able to actually delve into what is the truth here, what is the objective truth. Everyone's delving into subjective truth. It becomes very difficult to transform any of these feelings of not belonging, any kind of like feeling like this collective consciousness is evolving into something great. It can become very difficult to go deeper when we are just on the surface layer level of reality. We're just in the physical all the time. We're just in robotic mode, going to work, eating, sleeping. For some of us, that gets quite tedious, right? That turns into something that's just laborious, boring, you know? So, there's this desire to know more, okay? And this know part is to experience more, you know, to have a deeper understanding of life on a level that satisfies the question in mind. Your mind is always going to come up with questions, even when you do delve into some of the deepest parts of the Akash. But you'll be having an experience along with it, which is what I'm going to teach you about, these 5 levels of experience you can have with the Akash, with your Akashic field. And if you've watched this first video here, a part of this course, this workshop course, then you'll have already experienced a little bit of what that flow feels like when we're tapping into the 5 bodies. Okay? So this, for some people, has a lot to do with their soul mission. Okay? They want to understand the deeper mysteries of life. And to do that, they want to get in touch with the quantum field, with the Akashic energy that's all around us, that is constantly recording and receiving and sending out information to us about everything you could possibly think of that's present. They are referred to, the Akashic Realm is referred to as the cosmic tablets of light that records everything and has all information, past, present and future, as a part of it. So that kind of thing, when people can't get, the Akash is for people who can't get deeper in their life. They've tried therapy, they've tried meditation, they've tried all kinds of trauma healing stuff. Maybe it's not even about trauma. Maybe it's about coming together and creating something amazing as a collective, as a community, wanting to get past some of the fears and the lack consciousness that is here on planet Earth. But there's many different realities to tap into on this Earth. Gaia is a multifaceted being that also is perfectly abundant on some of her in some of her existence, and that's what we can also tap into. So it's about tapping into something more. So when can we tap into the Akash? You'll find that when you're on this journey, you'll have spontaneously, if you feel called to the Akash at this point, you'll have already probably spontaneously had some experiences with it. And these will have been spontaneous. But before you can kind of be in control of this Akashic space, of your Akashic space, and find information and answers and guidance when you need it, you have to go, before you can activate this wisdom and truth in the Akash, you have to be able to go and clear through your bodies. So in that first video, I talked about clearing through your physical, emotional, and mental bodies, and we're going to delve deeper into that shortly. Once you've cleared these first 3 bodies, we can start to tap into the other 2 bodies, which is the wisdom and the bliss body, which is where we get into more of the truthful, experiential nature of the Akash. So you may already have had experiences with this Akashic realm, with this higher consciousness, in visions, in meditations, in dreams, in shamanic healing, you know, whatever form it may have already come to you. It was probably through a spontaneous way, and what that meant is that you were needing this information right then in that moment when you received this download, and you opened yourself to receive it, but you weren't, it was spontaneous. You weren't actually going in there for yourself and receiving that information consciously. It was almost being given to you by the Akashic guides themselves, or by your angels, by your ancestors, by your higher self. And what I've noticed is that when you've gone through quite a few of those spontaneous awakenings with the Akash, they don't always just happen like that again. You have to do the work to get in there again, right? So occasionally our ancestors and angels will send us visions, experiences, memories, or visceral sensations. Alright, and this is you tapping into a higher consciousness. You're going into your theta brainwave state to receive some of this. You're opening your heart to these blessings because they're coming to you as informational packets that are going to change you and the decisions that you make and the choices that you make as a divine sovereign being. And these experiences help us to integrate deeper depths of our soul. Okay? This happens spontaneously when we are open to receive. If we're not open to receive, then we don't get these messages. It's very difficult to tap into that higher frequency, which is where these messages come from. But again, I just want to re-emphasize that sometimes we will have to do the work ourselves and clear the bodies so that we can be a good channel for this truth to come through us, because things can get a little bit distorted. So before we delve into the bodies that we need to clear, I want to tell you first of all why we're going to clear these bodies, and it's very important to do so. The thing is that there's a lot of depth you can explore in the Akash, and as we spoke about earlier, there's a spontaneity to some of us already accessing the Akash that is a type of healing, spontaneous healing, that we didn't necessarily do anything to receive. We just were in the right time and place and opened our field to angels, to ancestors, to this Akashic knowledge to be received. But as I say, if you want to become a practitioner in the Akashic space and you actually want to get into more of a you can visit where you need to go anytime without the resistance, without problems coming along, then the reason that we need to clear the bodies first is so that any vibrations, memories, thoughts, emotions, pathways that we've generated and carry in our field, if they are unhealed, if they are not fully acknowledged, they can actually attract that same vibration toward them. So what I mean is, if you're having some issues with something specific in your life, then what can happen, like say you struggle with confidence, right, and you have this lack of self-esteem with you, and you're aware of it, but you're kind of just overriding it because you just want to see what the Akash has to say to you, and what it has to show you, and what your guides want to show you. But what can happen is that when you do go into that very open, very vulnerable Akashic space, if you haven't dealt with some of that issue, or if you're not aware of it fully when you're going in there, you can attract to you a similar energy that is distorted, right? It's like attracts like. So we want to be a clear, pure channel when we're going into the Akashic space. And as we're going into the Akashic space, there's many gateways, many gatekeepers that we'll meet along the way that will slow us down and say, okay, here's something you need to look at in your physical, here's something you need to look at in your emotional body, before you can channel and receive this energy properly. Because even if the guides are able to contact you and you're able to receive messages from spirit, you might misinterpret them because of some of these distortions that are still in the body that haven't been cleared. So if we want to access the knowledge and the bliss of the Akash, we have to go through the many gatekeepers of our own fields and bodies until we can get there. The reason is because we cannot expect to be clear channels straight away. I mean, look at what we've all been through. We've got so much ancestral, karmic, past history that we're all clearing through. So no one is a perfect clear channel. It takes work to get there, right? To receive such grandiose truth, we can't receive that truth, not in its full form, not in its truest form, if we have distortions in our field. We have to clear those. And so I'm going to take you through many different ways you can do that. Some of it will involve movement, like shaking and moving your body, and that will be more in the experiential videos and chapters that I share with you. Over the next couple of videos, we may just go into more of the theory, more of the understanding of why it's important, and we're going to start with the physical body and how you can clear any distortions, pains, discomforts from there. One more thing I will say as well is that if you are carrying some kind of, say, an emotional distortion, so a deep depression or feeling of deep loneliness, it can take away from you being able to access your bliss body, your Akashic self, for example. You can't actually reach that state. So it is better to start slow and simple and then work our way up from there. There's gatekeepers there for a reason, and it's to protect you. Alright? So the bodies that we need to clear first, well, obviously it's going to start with our physical body. You'll notice that anytime you go into meditations, activations, just anything at all, the practitioner will always get you to start with grounding, with bringing your roots down into the earth and getting your body into a stable, secure, solid space. Because from there is where we can feel into the first layer of our bodies, and that's really important. It's no use going straight to the other bodies until we can really feel and sense into what's going on in our physical body. So with our physical body, when we start there, we generally can start with connecting, as I said, to the earth, but more importantly, it's connected to the earth element. Alright, so when we're looking into this practice of connecting with our bodies, our 5 bodies, when we connect with the physical body, we want to think earth element. Okay, this is the primary alchemical component that makes up this whole place. And so when we start here with earth, we're starting with our roots, our foundations. So this can also connect to our root chakra as well, but other than that, what we're doing is we're coming into our body and embodying the sensations, the physical sensations that go on all throughout our bodies. So we want to start by setting the intention that we're going to clear our physical body. Now, of course, I'm going to take you through some actual practices that you can do with this, an actual meditation. This is just the theory that I'm providing to you first. And there will be other chapters where you can go deeper into an experiential space of this physical body. But in order to clear the physical body, like any of the other bodies, we want to start with an awareness of our breath. Use the breath and focus on breathing through the heart to get still in the body. You'll notice that the heart space is always that bridge, is that center space where the earth energy below your feet, that grounding energy, comes up to meet that spirit sky energy, that cosmic energy that's coming down into your crown and meets in the middle. So when we're breathing into the heart, we're thinking about this as above, so below. We're thinking about bringing our energy in through the feet, in through the crown, and meeting at the breath, simply. Keeping it very simple with the breath here. In these early stages, we want to keep it as simple as possible. So, when clearing your physical body, all you really have to do is focus on your breath. Just at least for 5 minutes, okay? Once you've gotten into a deeper rhythm with your breath, you've relaxed, perhaps, maybe you've released some tension, some thoughts, some emotions. You're really present with your physication, what's going on. You're aware of your breath, how fast it is, how slow it is. Once you've gotten into a simple space with your breath, you can allow your awareness to shift wherever it wants to go along your spine. So we start in the heart because it's this neutral center. But as you begin to breathe and deepen your breath, you will find that your attention, your awareness is going to go to different places, especially in your body, because again, we do want to focus on the physical body here. You may have thoughts pull you, you may have emotions pull you. But what we're looking for here when we talk about allow your awareness to shift wherever it wants to go, we're talking about sensations. What can you feel viscerally going on in your body? You know, everything to do with the physical body, the blood, the bones, the muscles, the limbs, your posture, just everything to do with how your body is feeling physically. You're going to allow your awareness to flow wherever it wants to go there. So, for example, you may notice that your chest feels tight or anxious. And that's where you breathe. You breathe in that earth's energy, receiving that earth's energy. And then you breathe out and release that tension. Maybe drawn to your feet. Maybe they need a little bit more attention, a little bit more energy. Maybe they're going to sleep. Again, you'll breathe and receive. And you release any pain, any stress, tightness. You may also feel a type of emptiness in some places in your body when you breathe there. It might feel like it's asking you to pay attention to that space. And there you can breathe and receive and release and just hold that love that you're bringing through your heart, through the earth, into one of those spaces. You're going to be intuitively guided where to go by your own body. That's the magic of this. That's why when I'm going to go through this experience with you, I'm going to show you and explain to you the process. I'm not going to tell you exactly where to go in your body, because your body is unique to you. Your clearing of your physical vessel is going to look so different to you than it does to me in every one given moment. So this is where you take the information and the instructions and then you go with your intuition. So once a pain or a blockage, heaviness, lack of energy has been identified, acknowledged, it could be something to do with your chakras. It doesn't mean that you have to stay completely physical the whole time. If you're feeling like your chakras are speaking to you, for example, like your third chakra is maybe playing up in a moment, making you feel unworthy, or something's lacking in energy, you can still send that breath there. You may still be getting physical sensations, right? That are coming from the energetic body, that are coming from the meridians, for example. So, again, just allow the flow to happen, right? So the key here, the key to this work of clearing the physical body, all you have to do is become aware of these sensations, because I can guarantee you that when you're living your everyday life, you're not aware of these things, and if you are, it's for small times during the day, very small. And when we go into this Akashic practice of clearing the bodies first, we want to extend our time for as long as needs be with each one of these bodies, so that when we do come into them, we are clearing through what usually wouldn't get cleared through in our everyday waking life. There's so many distractions going on, right? Chaos. But the thing is that if you can find this autonomy with yourself in this type of meditation and just be simple with your breath and going and giving your body some awareness into some of the parts, the joints, the stiffness that is just asking for you to accept it. It's asking for you to acknowledge it and accept it. That's all it's really asking for you to do, because once you accept this pain or this lack of energy, it can release from you. It can move. That's moving the energy, alright? That physical pain might not move straight away. It all depends what it is, right? But once we go into the other bodies, we're going to see that yes, it can move. It might just require going into the deeper layers of the bodies, i.e. the emotional, the mental. Bliss body may be the one that moves it. So don't fret if you can't move it straight away, or if you're struggling to be present with it. The key is that you spend at least a minute there or more, breathing, accepting and releasing. Alright? Simple enough. I think so. And again, keeping it simple here. This is important work. This gets overlooked. This kind of awareness to the physical body gets overlooked a lot. So you're doing great work here. So important to stick at it. So the emotional body. First and foremost, we can think about the emotional body being connected to our inner child, which is our second chakra, also connected to the element of water. So, as part of some of the practices for working with your emotional, clearing your emotional body, we can do all of this through the breath, a bit like the physical body. However, we're going to find that not all of the work can be done just through, say, sitting down in meditation and breathing and being present with the emotions. Some of them can come through, but other ways that we can work with this is going to be through letting our inner innocent child come out and play. So, for example, doing something that brings you joy. You can think of yourself as a young child again and ask yourself, what is my younger child? What kind of games do you want to play? What kind of things do you want to do? Do you want to create some art? Do you want to do something just really simple and fun? That's a way of activating your emotional body, right? But if we're talking about clearing here, which the two come together, sometimes you've got to activate it in order to clear it. Sometimes you've got to clear it in order to activate it. It comes again at different stages, different times for different people. So these are guidelines for you. They're not the exact order, linear state that things follow. It's very spherical. So for some people, it might be kind of the typical ways of thinking about the inner child and clearing our emotional body, for example, might actually not be the same as what someone else would do. For you, it might be bringing joy to your bath, you know, your self-care routine. It might be bringing joy to your work. Okay, it doesn't have to be that you become a child to experience this emotional clearing. It just means that you get in touch with that innocent part of you that is emotional, that is your body wisdom. So you can practice receiving the love of the Universal Father above you and practice releasing the unwanted emotions or memories into Mother Earth beneath you. So this is when you might get an emotional memory pop up. You might get an emotional sensation come through you in a day. You don't know what to do with it. You want to release through both of your channels. And you also want to allow yourself to feel the emotions in abundance. This means that both pain and pleasure get to be felt completely through you. When someone gives you love, you really take a moment, a minute, several minutes to soak that in. When you're going through pain, you don't want to go into an escape route where you try and escape the pain. That's taken away from you clearing your emotional body and just adding more repression to these emotions. So again, the balance here is that you face both the positive and the negative emotions in the same way. You don't label one as good and one as bad. You just face them in the same way as you would with anything. You become autonomous to yourself, becoming this divine sovereign being. And whatever emotions do come through, you express them wholeheartedly in whatever way they wish to move through. You might cry, you might scream, might want to move, might want to sing, might want to dance. You know, there's all kinds of ways again. So all of these bodies, they're all connected. So it's like, just because we're doing the emotional stuff doesn't mean that you just have to express or clear emotions. You start with that process, but it might lead you into the physical. You might want to dance or move or shake. You might go more into your mind and explore your emotions that way. They're all interwoven, but we are differentiating here because the emotional body is kind of your next layer of your aura, your next level of your Akashic field. And so anything that is stuck or trapped is going to move through when you're breathing into it, when you're practicing releasing and receiving, or receiving and releasing. Alright? We're working with your inner child in clearing the emotional body. So again, working with water, taking a bath, really enjoying when you drink a glass of water. There's all kinds of ways we can connect with this element and clear our body of any residual of emotions that are left there that need to be moved. It's energy in motion, yeah? So, when things are coming up to release, you'll know that an emotion is not there for no reason. It is your body wisdom, okay? So, when it comes to the mental body, one thing to know about your mind, in this case, the thoughts that you have, is that your brain, your thoughts, usually are coming from what I like to call the collective soup, the energies that are around you. And so whether you resonate with some kind of inspirational thought that you just had, or some kind of completely random, maybe disturbing thought, is all up to you. You just have a choice. You don't have a choice of what thoughts come into your head, but you have a choice on what to resonate with. And that's really key to understand here. Whether it, one of the things that I've come to notice is that when you have an inspiring thought, usually that's almost like you've channeled something that is really important. And yes, you may have been the one to receive it, but but you weren't the one to create it. It's almost like that's what muses are known as. You know, they send these thoughts down to us here, and that's where truly good inspirations, ideas come from, including our dreams as well. Sometimes you'll receive information that's not inherently yours, but you're to do something with it. And the same goes for if you have a really disturbing thought. It's how much you resonate with the thought, good or bad, that determines how many pathways, neural pathways, you're going to develop in your mind that talk to you about that and that repeat that process, you know, like an OCD kind of thing. So a big part of clearing the mental body is understanding that you're not in control of the thoughts, you're in control of which ones you choose to resonate with. It's a really key thing to understand there. So we're actually coming up again into the next chakra here. When we're working with the mental body, we're working with the solar plexus. And the solar plexus, the element we want to work with here is fire. Fire is all about transformation. And with the third chakra, when it's open, when it's well established, we are very much connected to our confidence. We're very much connected to our sense of self, being worthy and having a good will, good passion for life. And this actually is what constructs our mind. It's what gives way for, say we're feeling really confident and open, we might receive an idea or an inspiration of how we can maybe create something even better, or do something slightly more in an amazing way, you know. And when we're closed in this area of our bodies, it does affect our mind. If we don't have much self-esteem, if we don't have much confidence, then our thoughts will kind of carry on that trail of, you can think of it as, you know, if you've ever played the game Sims, where you kind of decide what the Sims do, and after a while, that will of yours that's deciding what you do, it's like you don't even have a choice. There's just certain things that you do in a day that is kind of part of your conditioning, part of your past experiences, and then you just go on to autopilot and you decide the things that you want to do in a day, and that will doesn't even have to encourage you to do it anymore. You just do it automatically. Sometimes we do things automatically that are good for us, other times we have programming in our heads that we do, that we think, that we are, that's not us, but we just continue to do it anyways because we haven't cleared it. Alright, so again, working with fire for this can be really great, but just in meditation I will take you through just some simple ways of noticing your thoughts and noticing that you're thinking. Okay, so the mental body, to clear it, we want to rework our thoughts to change how sensations are interpreted. So an example here is that this is coming in with the physical body and coming in with the emotional body. If you have a traumatic experience growing up, yes, you're going to label it as difficult. But what can happen, and that's true, the situation was painful, it was difficult. So it was interpreted correctly. When you get older though, if a similar situation occurs, you might misinterpret it as being as bad as it was back in the day, because that mind, your mind's perception of that event that happened hasn't cleared from your body yet. And so, you know, you may get even more triggered by the same thing happening or something similar, because we never have the exact same things happen, but we invite in specific energy circuits that if we don't break some of those circuits, they repeat until we've learned the lesson. So an example would be that if you were humiliated as a child during, say, a party or something, when you go to a party again, you might not even, nothing might have happened yet, and you might already be having some kind of impending doom, like your thoughts are going into overdrive, thinking about all the things that could go wrong. And then maybe something does happen at the party, but it's nowhere near as bad as what it was when you were younger, or the person didn't really mean to be kind of offhand with you, but You take it in so deeply because of the way that you're interpreting the experience or the sensation. And usually when we're interpreting the sensation as, you know, painful or just hurtful in some kind of way, it's because we haven't found a way to transform that pain yet. Like I say, we haven't cleared something in the past. So we can start to interpret the whole journey with clearing these bodies has to do with realizing that pain often equals progress. If things were super happy-go-lucky all the time, you know, there's this native saying, I forget exactly how it goes, but there's one part that says that, you know, happy times equal weak men. And what it means is that if you're not learning the duality that's here, i.e. the good and the bad things that happen, you can't get to a space of unity because you'll be in a space of entitlement. You'll be in a space of almost illusion about what's really real here. I mean, we do live in a type of duality where there's all kinds of things on the spectrum that you can see as good or bad, but what we want to go to when we get into that bliss body is transcending those things, coming into an autonomous state where we are no longer interpreting things that are going on in an external environment as being something that will change our energy, as being something that can change us unless we want to be changed, i.e. you can be balanced, you can be stable, you can be solid whilst everyone else is freaking out around you, and you'll be that stronghold for people and yourself. By the way, that's that autonomous thing I'm speaking of, is no matter what's going on around you, you can stay balanced. So another way to clear the mental body is to create a growth mindset to calmly meet any challenges. So what this means is that whenever you do come across problems, you come across pains, resistance, depression, you know, any of this previous stuff we just dealt with, which is physical, emotional, mental, in the past, in the future, whatever it is, whenever you meet some kind of, you know, the feeling of not wanting to meet that thing, you'd rather not. You'd rather not meet that thing, you'd rather not look at that thing, you'd rather escape into something else that feels better. Well, if you can meet that thing that's come to meet you, that looks scary or terrible or whatever it is, but it's there. It's just there's no getting away from it. If you can meet it head on and face it, then you're going to do a much better job at transforming it. If you meet it and try to run or escape from it, and you know that it's part of what you're here to do, because don't get this wrong with like you have to do absolutely everything that comes your way. No, you don't. You get to decide what you do. But there are certain things that we base our values on, and this has a lot to do with your solar plexus. The things that you want in life, things that you value, they're going to keep coming to you. And if you keep resisting them, you're going to want to overcome that. You're going to want to transform that. So every time some kind of problem comes your way, some kind of fear of yours comes your way, you can have more of a growth mindset about it. You can be like, this pain is going to make me stronger. This difficulty is going to make it so that I'm more powerful, right? I can deal with anything, no matter what it is. And then you can calmly meet these challenges that come along, and they will come along, no matter how much work you've done. So it's kind of like you're protected no matter what, you know? So you get to be calm all the way through. There's no stress about this. When you're clearing your mind, it's just you're going to meet every single thought head on and choose whether you resonate with it or not. And if you don't, let it go. You completely let it go. Another way to clear the mental body is to work with visualization. Now, again, going back to the third chakra, it actually connects us with our beliefs. The third chakra here down just below your heart center connects you with what you believe in life is good for you, what you believe in life is right for you. And so if you believe that a certain dream or a certain goal of yours is good for you, then you will be able to create a belief around it, that if you believe that you can achieve it, you will. And it's just about that belief every single time. And so in believing that you can achieve it, you can start to visualize yourself achieving that goal. You can start to visualize yourself in success, whatever that looks like for you, whatever belief is most important to you, you visualize that. And the interesting thing about your mind and its power is that it can't tell the difference between what is actually happening in your physical world and what is, I mean it can, but it still gives off the same endorphins. So the example would be, you're watching a movie and something terrible is happening on the movie. Your mind will react and send out the according signals as though it's happening to you. So we can use the same principle with visualization. They've done studies about how if people visualize themselves lifting weights 10 minutes a day, and they visualize for 10 minutes a day that their muscles are pumping and getting bigger, there will actually be some physical growth. And it's quite significant to say that these people were just thinking about exercising, they weren't actually doing it. So the power of your mind is important here, because you can visualize absolutely anything and you can actually start to call it in to your environment. So if you visualize yourself clearing out some of that old past programming by visualizing yourself in a space of vitality and power, whatever that looks like to you, you're clearing things out of the way. And again, using this visualization to calmly retain calm confidence, right? So again, it's about that confidence space. These two are connected. When you feel confident, when you have belief, when you're sure of yourself, your mind will follow. All right? So you can release fear and change self-talk. Welcome to this space. So today I'm going to chat with you and hope that if you have any questions, you'll write them in the comments down below. But I'm going to chat with you all about my experience with the Akashic frequency, the Akashic records as they are more commonly known, quantum field. Basically, I'll start with how you maybe subtly can sense space. I invite you into this subtle space, subtle but sacred space, with me here and now. No matter what distractions come through, thoughts, sounds, feelings, you're just staying centered in your heart. Noticing, feeling sensations coming from your heart. Breathing out tension of any kind. Breathing in fresh air. Breathing out together, collectively. Any fears we have surrounding this internal quiet space. It's okay if outside distractions are there. Those are there to help you get even deeper into this relaxation, this subtle space. And we're just going to feel and breathe. You can inhabit any space along your spine that you wish to. Focus in on the different parts. You may notice your breath is calling your attention the most. Follow with that breath. Notice the subtle sensations inside you. How your mind shifts constantly back and forth, side to side. Tap in with how your breath feels. Is it shallow? Ground with your breath into the earth. Feel your heart expanding, receiving this breath. Expanding in spaciousness. Around your body. Sending love anywhere in your body that feels or is calling for it. Let emotions be accepted through you. accept them as they are. Let them express. As you do, your field will begin to lighten. Just use your hands. Sense, if you like, subtle field around you. Anything that wants to move is accepted in this now present moment. Anything that wishes to move or be held expressed. This is your Akashic field. That simple yet that complex. The emotions that arise when we get still, even just for a few minutes. When we breathe and allow our bodies to show us where our focus, our attention needs to be in this moment. We get to balance any of your bodies that wish to arise, your mental, your emotional, your physical sensations get to be balanced through your attention, your breath, and your acceptance. We start slow. Simple. In doing so, when we come to connect other energies in the Akashic space. We have a clear channel so that the messages of our guides, our ancestors, our angels, the keepers of your Akashic records, are able to commune clearly and coherently, so that your field is free from any distortions, distractions. This practice stops us from rushing into the gigantic energies, frequencies of the Akash. There is no rush. When we try to rush, we pick up things in our field that are attracting in distorted frequencies because we haven't cleared those frequencies from our own fields. Yana Ea Seu Hiana Barotomba. You're always protected no matter what. However, if you want to save yourself from having to do extra work, extra clearing, it's really good to get this simple practice that we did in the beginning of this video. It's really good to spend time there working, clearing, grounding, sensing our subtle bodies, our physical, emotional, mental, wisdom and bliss bodies. These 5 bodies are like the first gateways into your true wholeness. Only from there are you going to be able to get deep enough into your quantum field, your Akashic records, to receive and communicate information with your higher self, your soul, that is lasting and valuable. because we're always protected, we can get this information before we're ready. My experience and practice with delving into this gigantuan energy that is the Akasha, which is spherical and not linear. So in the now moments that we enter this Akashic space, we're entering both our past, present and future all in one, and it's rooted in whatever experiences are coming through your field here and now. So, in a way, I would say that I had to learn to take this process slowly, so that you who are interested, who are being initiated into the deeper aspects of your field, of your soul, of your intuition, of the Akashic space, quantum field, will be guided by your soul at the same time, and Shema Shiv won't feel depleted of energy. You want to get to the fifth body, the bliss body, when you're in the Akashic space. From there you already are channeling the energy properly, from above, between and below you. But it takes a heal, so if you want to do it properly, it takes a while. It takes a while to let that unfold. It's kind of like the seasons of nature. The seasons of nature, as you know, a flower, for example, it goes through a season of seeding, then a season of growing, then a season of blooming, and a season of dying, and then finally rebirthing. And it takes a whole year. So, I wanted to plant this seed together today in honor of my own explorations and the explorations that I know many of you are being called to as well. I'm going to keep things very simple when I come to guide and teach from this space from now on. And I'm looking forward to you being part of this journey, as we all already are part of this journey together in the quantum fields, and really going on this quest, this voyage, this journey to find meaning from within our own heart space, allowing that to be the guide that unfolds, that flower that unfolds over the seasons and shows us the way, helps us to enjoy the way, helps us to know the way. There's a lot of growth that we can do from this space. Starts off with the physical body, as I said. And sometimes the physical body has a lot to clear, to move, to be acknowledged and accepted. And then when we move into the emotional body, again, we have to face many things that have been repressed, programmed in there, and reprogram these energy, emotional circuits to better serve our experience and our co-creation with the universe and with our dreams, what it is that we are fulfilling in ourself every day, living this life. And just those two bodies alone, they're going to take a season, 2 seasons maybe. So even going beyond a year, I feel this work is sacred enough that we would spend so much time with it. So as for the mental and the wisdom and the bliss bodies, my feeling is that I've already experienced them to a level where I feel like now I have to go back. And this is with some of you as well. We've experienced that together. And I think we're going back to beginner's mode again because we've missed some of the simplicities that get to be faced this time around and finally integrated. So thank you, and you can take a look in the description down below in order to access more with me, and I'll see you next time.